So I live in Johannesburg with my wife and three boys. My boys are aged 12, 11, and 6.
Wow.
A busy house. Oh, even the books were scared by my three boys. That's how I feel.
That's like a whole portfolio approach there.
Yeah, so we're originally from England. The first two boys were born in England, then we moved here 7 years ago. I've been living and working as a tech entrepreneur in South Africa and into Africa. Being an entrepreneur, it's not a stable lifestyle, stable career. And in Africa, it's certainly nothing's ever stable. So we're used to the pandemic kind of chaos that a pandemic can bring. But I certainly wasn't ready for teaching a grade 1.
Are your kids at home or are they in school?
At the start, so in South Africa, we had a very strict lockdown. We had a national lockdown. It was a hard lockdown. You couldn't leave the house. People observed the rules. People are generally very compliant, law-abiding. And the army was on the streets. So schools were shut. And we were fortunate enough that our boys could learn virtually. They go to a good private school. They were very fortunate. They've got devices. But the grade 1 didn't want to know. He just was not, which is quite ironic because, if you give him a device, he'll probably spend hours on YouTube. But he just didn't care. He didn't care what the teacher had to say. After 5 minutes, he was bored. And he just he needed that tactile, immersive, interactive experience. The other boys coped remarkably well. They did really well. They disappeared for hours on end on their devices, got their work done. They liked the flexibility. Our kitchen was empty most of the time because they were just raiding the cupboard for food. So our supermarket bill went up dramatically. But aside from that, the two older boys did really well. And then their reports, for their school reports, also confirmed that they really rose to the challenge of home learning.
Were your kids playing outside or playing with friends at all?
We're fortunate again, we've got a large garden. They were able to run around, blast some steam. Boys got a lot of energy. Yeah, virtual learning is not good for boys. There's too much energy there. So that was definitely a challenge, but fortunately they can go for what we live in a complex gated community. They can also go out, ride their bikes. The weather's so cool in Joburg. It's pretty much like 300 days of sunshine we get here. Yeah, 20 degrees, 20 to 30 degrees. Most is not extremely hot.
That's fortunate. Did your kids see friends or were they just playing with each other?
So what else happened for us was interesting. We decided, when I say we, the royal we, it was actually me. I had this stupid idea to create a lockdown app to simplify the lockdown regulations for all of South Africans.
Wow.
And so we created this app, launched it. We built it in 5 days, launched it, and 1 million people downloaded this app in 3 days.
Wow.
And we were like, and we didn't even advertise. We just shared it on WhatsApp with our mates. So me and my wife built this app with a couple of developers in Cape Town. And then so obviously we couldn't really break our own rules. So we were very strict with our lockdown. We didn't let our kids see anybody else. We had to follow all the rules because obviously we were telling the entire nation about the rules and the laws of lockdown. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway, it's one of those inadvertent things.
And is the app still being used?
Yeah, it's called Lockdown Boza, but now we're in level 1. Most things are allowed here. Hopefully we don't get a second wave like everyone else is having, but things are fairly relaxed. So people know the rules and so the app still exists, but obviously it's not as useful now because most things we have this red, amber, green system. So most things are green now. Yeah.
Very cool. We've got about a minute left. What are you dealing with now and what plans do you have in the future? And do you have new strategies to cope with what's going on?
As a parent, I think one of the strategies for me is to try and get the right balance around control and empowering them with device time. I think that's what I'm finding is that inevitably they're going to spend a lot more time on devices, even though they've gone back and now they're in person or hybrid learning. And it's just finding that balance, particularly with the older kids, the 12, 11-year-olds. What's the right level of supervision and control as they get into those years? I'm a big believer that it's not about the screen time necessarily, but about what you're doing on the screen that matters.
Yeah, big time.
But unfortunately, everybody's watched Social Dilemma by now on Netflix. The system's working not in my favor as a parent. It's unfortunately, they've gone too far in. They're into YouTube. They're already addicted to Fortnite and all these things that just suck so much time out of their day. I don't know. That, I think, for me is the biggest challenge, is how do we make the right use and the best use of all these wonderful technological tools that are in front of them.
We're gonna have somebody at the event called Nicole Dreisky.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's actually worked out when your kid is addicted to an app or to a screen, how do you hack that channel to teach critical thinking?
Wow. Okay.
So she's going to come and
Amazing.
speak, and she's trained like 10,000 kids and parents through this, and it's working incredibly well. So stay tuned for that.
So join us at Surviving the School Year, and we would love your support, and we are happy to have you as a parent activator.
Best of luck with the event.
We'll
Great
see how
call.
it goes.
Thank you
Cheers.
so much.
Talk soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.